Hey, ladies and gentlemen, street talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati. Hey, Wenatchee, blue skies, baby, blue skies, calm, clear, cool weather. This is great. I was over in Seattle all weekend, okay? Happened to watch the Mariners lose yesterday, but listened to the Seahawks win. Caught the last quarter on TV when I got back, but when we drove into town, I said to my wife, hey, look at this. It's clear. It's great. It's cool. 80 degrees, 85. This is why we live here, ladies and gentlemen. So this is great. Hey, so nice to have the nice weather back. Nice to have you back this weekend. Got a really good show for you today. Okay, I'm going to enjoy this one. I think you are too. But just a couple of things to go over. The thing is, the difference between, I was thinking about this. What's the difference between Washington, D.C. and Las Vegas? Okay, there is one major difference, okay? In Vegas, the drunks are gambling with your money, with their own money, I mean. Yeah, I blew that one. But you get it, okay? Explain it. I'll explain it to my wife later. Okay, and then Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, he walked into the Oval Office the other day, and he found Donald Trump, President Trump, just ecstatic with joy, just really happy. So Vice President Pence said to him, Donald, Mr. President, why are you so happy? And Donald said, look, I just finished this jigsaw puzzle. It was great. He said, well, how long did it take you? He says, well, it's interesting because the box said 3 to 5 years, but it only took me a month. Okay, and in a new interview, Hillary Clinton. Remember here, I don't like to mention Donald Trump without mentioning Hillary. I want to give him equal time. Hillary Clinton said that her guilty pleasure was eating chocolate. And so they turned to Bill and said, what's your guilty pleasure? He said, being Bill Clinton. And then, now this is true, okay? There was a priest who went into a barbershop in Washington, D.C. And he got a haircut. At the end, the priest said, how much? And the barber said, well, no charge. It's a service to the Lord. So the priest said, great, thanks. So the next day when the barber got there, he found a bunch of, prayer books and devotional stuff left outside, a thank you gift from the priest. Well, a couple days later, a cop walked in, got his hair cut, and the cop said, how much? And the barber said, no, I appreciate your service, it's free. So the next day when the barber got there, there's a box of donuts, okay, and a letter of thanks from the police officer. So a couple weeks later, a senator walked in, he got his hair cut, and the senator said, how much do I owe you? And the barber said, so, well, nothing. I consider it a service to my country. The next day when the barber got there were 12 senators at his door. Okay, all right, good. Okay, street talk and other stuff. You stick around. I got a good guest, Mike Mad Dog Magnati. We'll be right back.
Antique Mall at Cashmere is Trade Dollar Coins' new location. Whether you're in search for coins, currency, gold, or silver, you'll find what you're looking for. From coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, find coins rarely seen from around the world. Whether you're buying or selling or need supplies, Trade Dollar Coins is the place to be. Located in Antique Mall at Cashmere. Open 7 days a week.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's blueberry picking season and King 5 named us the second best destination restaurant in Washington State. So toss the family in the cruiser and get on out to Blueberry Hills for the best down-home scratch country cooking you've had in years. And don't forget our award-winning pies. We're fun, family-friendly, and a delicious destination year-round. We're open every day from 8 to 3, serving breakfast and lunch all day. So come on out to Blueberry Hills.
The Cottage Inn has been a Wenatchee Valley landmark since 1940, making it one of the longest-running locally owned restaurants around. And it's better than ever. Steak, seafood, and their famous homemade desserts for dinner, wonderful lunch items, and breakfast on Sundays, all made from scratch and at an affordable price. It's no wonder the Cottage Inn has been so popular for over 75 years. Enjoy a fabulous meal today at the Cottage Inn on Easy Street in Old Station.
All right, street talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog McNay. Now, I am very, very proud to introduce my guest today, John Cruz. John, old buddy of mine. Now, the thing is, he and I have a history. Goes way back. John and I worked at the Wenatchee PD together. Okay, John, you were hired. What year? I started in 1986.
1992.
Okay. And John was eventually promoted to sergeant in?
1999.
Okay. And you were eventually acting captain for?
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, you got there just, I was sex crimes detective in 1991.
Right.
That's when I really made my bones. So you missed the glory days of Mike McNay.
I missed your glory days. I only got to witness the long downhill slide.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You know, so I ended up, I didn't actually work for the Wenatchee PD. I just drew a salary. Okay. But you know what I say, though? Chief Robbins,
yes,
he was the only person happier about my retirement than I was.
Oh, boy. Actually, Chief Robbins loved your old show.
Yeah,
he would come to the office.
Yeah.
Did you hear what McDonnie said? Did you hear what McDonnie just
My
said?
old radio
it's
show.
like, no, I'm working.
Oh, one day we were in contract negotiations.
Yes.
And we finally got a contract settlement, okay? And we had been without a contract for like a year and a half, so we all got this real fat check. So
yes. I remember, everybody bought a truck.
Yeah, exactly. So I got back to the station and I was talking it was on the radio. I talked about how it was big fat payday for Wenatchee PD. And I told Captain Jones, he goes, "What?" You said, "What?" I said, "Well, Captain, is public knowledge, for gosh sakes, okay?" But they were all too paranoid.
Yes.
You know? And you never got the captain's disease.
I wasn't there long enough.
Okay.
Plus, to be honest, you know this.
Yeah.
I really, really wanted to be a captain for the Wenatchee Police Department. Yeah. And once I finally got it for a year, it's like, I hate this job.
Yeah,
this is the worst job I ever had in the Wenatchee Police Department with being a captain.
Yeah, I could imagine. But I got to tell you one more story. One more story before I get into the reason why I had him on. Though his nickname back with the PD was was Joe Friday, because he actually said to a woman once, his first year there, when he said, "Nope, just the facts, ma'am." And you were pretty, pretty cut and dried.
Straight out of the military as an officer. I was very cut and dried.
Okay.
I learned to lighten up. You probably have something to do with that, since
Well,
you were my
may have.
sergeant several times over.
You never know, yeah. So, no, we worked together.
We
worked
did.
together. It was
We
good.
did. I
It was
enjoyed
good.
working with you.
And he was a good cop, too. He really was. He was good. Reasonably honest, straightforward.
Yeah, well, it was hard. I had to clean up after your messes during your
true.
long downhill slide.
That's true. But listen, this is why I want to tell you here. Now, John is now the host of Northwestern's Outdoor Radio, and he recently won an award, okay? Now, I want you to talk about the show, okay? I mean, tell us about, how it started, that kind of thing. But before that, tell us just a little bit about your family.
Sure.
Because that's important. I know you're a family guy like me. So.
I'm very blessed. I married to my wife, Michelle. We've been married since 1994.
She's cute.
And I better start planning a pretty
Yeah, she's
big
pretty
anniversary trip pretty soon. Since we're
24?
Well,
24 years?
25.
25.
25. That's the one I better get it right. So for our 20 year, we went to Hawaii. So for 25, we have to top that somehow.
Yeah.
We'll see. So either that or she'll dump me before we get to 25. One or the other.
No, I kind of think that
She's going to hold out
she
just for
likes
that.
having you around. Okay?
Well, that's a good thing. So yeah, been married to Michelle. She works at Davis Furniture. Go say hi to her if you get a chance. She's right there at the front desk as a receptionist. My son David just graduated from WVC, and he is a volunteer firefighter with Kashmir. He's an EMT. Loves doing that. Is working at state parks this summer, and he's going to Central in the fall. And
cool.
Guess what his degree is going to be in?
I don't know. Party?
No,
Party
actually,
Central?
at first he wanted to be a cop, and I said, no, for the love of God, for the love of God, do not do this.
Be a fireman. Everybody loves firemen.
I said that. I said, be a fireman. And so we looked at that, but then he came in one day and he said, you know what, Dad? I'm going to get a degree in public relations. I said, that's
cool.
a great idea.
Oh, yeah, it's a great idea.
You can always get a job in public relations.
Now, it's interesting. I had a nephew. My brother's son, Mario, was an officer with Ellensburg and then I think Auburn for a while. But he's a firefighter now for Kirkland.
Smart guy.
He said, I'm getting out of this job or everybody hates you, you know? So,
And then my daughter, Faith. And Faith's claim to fame is she was in the top 3 for the regional spelling bee 2 years in a row, 7th grade
really?
and 8th grade. She actually was the runner-up one year to go to the spelling bee, the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. So she's smart as a whip. She is...
Oh, she's not adopted, is she?
No, no. I'm the one that's adopted. So she gets it all from her mother, and she also has...
Okay, now I know that joke's a little mean, but the way we used to play with each other at the police, the police department, this was calm, okay?
Yes.
So, yeah.
So anyway, she's smart as a whip. She's going into high school. She'll be a bulldog at Kashmir this year, and yeah, I'm as proud as a parent can be.
Okay, so you live in Kashmir now?
I love
because you lived in Malaga for a while.
Lived in Malaga, lived at Three Lakes, loved the fishing there. But I got to tell you, if you've got kids and you want to put them in a great school district, Kashmir School District is the best. And living in Kashmir, it's like living in, some people call it like living in Mayberry.
Yeah.
I call it a little piece of Americana. It's a wonderful place to have a family.
Okay, well, good. I'm happy for you. When did you move there? Okay.
2011.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't know that. All right, well, good. Well, hey, tell us about the radio show.
So
Northwestern Outdoors
Radio. It all started back in 2003. I was doing a little bit of writing for like fishing, hunting news, and some outdoors publications. And I had just become the public information officer for the Wenatchee Police Department. And so Eric Grantstrom, who works here, got a hold of me. At the time he was with 560 KPQ, and he says, hey, I'm putting together an outdoor show on the weekends. And I need somebody else besides me, to be on the air. And I know that you write, about the outdoors. I know you can talk on the radio because we've had you on the air. Would you mind doing a little 3-minute piece in terms of just how to do stuff or places to go?
Sure.
I said, well, I don't know anything about radio. He says, come on down. So I went on down, and I got a 30-minute lesson in how to talk into a microphone and how to operate the audio software. And that is my formal radio broadcast training. And so I did that for like 3-4 years. And then Eric left KPQ, and Steve Hare, who also works here, he came to me and said, hey, would you mind hosting the weekend show? Being the host for an hour. I was terrified. It's like, what am I going to talk about for an hour?
Yeah, for an hour, right. Yeah.
And plus it was a live show. And it's like, oh, okay. So I did. And I went in there, and I was horrible. I was awful. I mean, you know how I didn't really have a radio voice or any sort of...
You were a little squeaky.
I wasn't squeaky.
Hi, this is John Cruz.
No, it was worse than that. It was like I was William Shatner. Today on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're talking fishing. Fishing on the icicle. For Chinook! Big Chinook!
You're going to give me a heart attack.
It was the worst radio ever. But they must have really been hard up at the time.
I don't know, because remember, we had shows about the same time.
I know.
After my first show...
You had 15 listeners, though. I'm pretty sure I didn't have that many.
Well, got up to 21. But after the first show, a woman wrote a letter to the station that said, this guy is terrible. Why are you letting him be on the radio? He's arrogant. He interrupts his guests. He's rude. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then at the end, she said, cancel his show immediately. Okay, so Steve Hare just handed it to me when I get to work that day, okay? So the next day, I read the whole letter on the air. I said, hey, in all honesty, this has got some good points. I mean, this woman, is actually, she's right. I do. I mean, I'm new at this. I got to learn. Well, the woman who wrote the letter was listening. And she called up. She says, well, I didn't mean to be harsh. I try not to be harsh. I said, ma'am, what part of cancel his show immediately isn't harsh? So we had a learning curve.
We had a steep learning curve, especially me. But eventually it got a little bit better.
Yeah.
But then you and I both got pink slips at the same time.
That's right, we did.
We did. The recession hit, and the recession hit print, and it hit radio.
I don't think it was the recession that ended my show. I think it was my show with the sex doctor about the female orgasm that ended my show.
It was the recession. Trust me, it was the recession.
I think that was the show that we're not going to have this guy on anymore.
Well, I got brought in, and Dan Conway was the manager, God rest his soul. And Dan said, love your show. We'd like to put you on our sister station, but we can't really pay you anymore.
Okay.
Not that we were being paid a princely sum by any means.
No, but not by any stretch.
But they said, have you heard of something called syndication? And I'm like, no. So we explained.
He didn't make that offer to me.
No.
Okay.
So we explained how syndication worked and how if I got on stations, I could go sell sponsorships, and the more stations I was on, in theory, the more people would pay me to have ads and be sponsors of my show. So I gave it a whirl.
Yeah,
And 10 years later, with Northwestern Outdoors, we're on over 60 stations in 5 states every week.
Really?
Who would
60
have thought?
stations.
61, 62.
Cool,
Yeah.
excellent, yeah. And this is an hour-long show every week.
Hour-long show, and then last year we launched another hour-long show called America Outdoors Radio.
Cool. All right. Well, look, I want to take a break now, but John recently won an award for his show, and we're going to talk about that when we get back and do a little more of this absolute nonsense that we're talking about. So, actually, Dan Kuntz said to us, please don't talk shop too much, but
We did.
nobody does what he says. So, hey, street talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati, stick around. We'll be right back.
Do you have a fun or interesting video you'd like to see featured here on the NCW Life channel? It's easy. All you have to do is send us an email at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.
At Doghouse Motorsports, we ride what we sell. There's a lot we could say about the CD Spark and the CD GTI, but ultimately, the ride says it all.
No matter what your age or ailment, when you wake up each day with a sense of purpose, life has meaning and joy.
Just wait a while, it'll get in the hole somewhere.
Helping you do this is our purpose. Highgate Senior Living, each day to the fullest.
The best thing about my life right now is
me.
Hi there, Wenatchee. My name is Sean Lee, and I'm the host of the NCW Movie Guide. Join me every week for a breakdown of the movies currently playing at our theaters, as well as a sneak preview of some upcoming features.
Okay, street talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati. I'm here with my good friend Johnny Cruz. Worked together we drew salaries together at the Wenatchee Police Department, and now he is the host of Northwestern Outdoors Radio, which recently won a national award.
Right,
okay,
right up there with the Darren McGavin Fragile Award.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, well, tell us about it. Come on.
So, you know, there's awards like Emmys, and there's Oscars, and radio there's some Marconi, and outdoors television, they've got, believe it or not, the Golden Moose. But in outdoors, I know, it's a stretch. But it's even more of a stretch for outdoors radio.
Okay,
it's even further out in the universe, further out in the galaxy than the Golden Moose. The only thing we have is there's an organization called the Outdoor Writers Association of America. There's about 800 people from all over North America that are members. There's writers, there's photographers, there's radio people, there's TV people, bloggers, you name it. Anyone who's in the outdoors media that can be part of this national organization. So I'm a member, and every year they have something called an Excellence in Craft Contest, and you can enter your best work over the year.
Okay.
And there's like 6 different categories. So there's one for fishing, one for hunting, one for adventure or conservation, and you enter your best stuff. And then they judge it. And a lot of times, you're not in the top 3, because I mean, there's some really stiff competition out there with people who do this for a living all the time. But this year, I got first place in one of the categories.
Cool.
And then at the end, the president of the organization, he listens to all the winning entries, you know, from all the categories.
Okay, so what category did you win in?
So, conservation. So that was one of 6 categories. So he listens to the winning entries, all the radio entries from all 6 categories. He says, this is the best entry. And for all I know, he might listen to all the winning ones, even the second and third place ones. But he says, this is the best entry of the year in radio. And this is the President's Choice Award for the Outdoor Writers Association of America. And he picked a piece that I entered as the very best outdoors radio entry for 2017.
All right.
So if I had a Golden Moose right now, I'd be holding it up.
So is it really the Golden Moose?
No, that's only for TV.
Oh, okay.
So it's just the President's Choice Award. It's the Golden Moose. I guess we call it the Bronze Antelope.
Okay. All right. Cool. So was there like a ceremony where they,
They have an award ceremony at the national conference.
You ate rubbery chicken and,
Yes. Okay. Actually, in Minnesota, the rubber chicken's really good.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And they actually have walleye, too. Oh, I can't say enough about walleye. But at any rate, yes. There was a conference, there was an awards dinner, I got to shake the hand of the president, and I got the President's Choice Award.
Really? Was there any,
Actually, there is money for the Excellence in Craft Awards entry, so you do get some money.
Yeah, okay.
Not a lot. I mean, like a couple $100.
Yeah, all right, still.
But for the President's Award, it's just prestige. It's just, wow. The Mary Tyler Moore moment. You like me? You really like me? Or is that Sally Field?
That was Sally Field.
Sally Field.
I wasn't going to correct him.
It's okay.
I've known back from police work, he didn't take correction well. So.
I've gotten better.
Well, good. No, I'm proud of you. That's great. I mean, that's because this is like.
Well, but I'll be honest. This one, though, this really, I'm a big believer that a guest will make or break your show, which is why this one will never be aired again. But the guest I had for this one was amazing. Her name was Jennifer Jarrett. And Jennifer works at Yellowstone National Park.
Right.
And her job is to record the sounds of nature at the park and then turn them into podcasts. So she actually put on a presentation at another conference I was at. I got to interview her, and I got to incorporate some of the stuff that she had. So, for example, there was, she had a great piece about, when you think of predators at Yellowstone, you probably think of this. And then she had, wolves howling that she'd recorded in the Lamar Valley. But if you're on the water, you should think of this. And then it transitioned to loons calling, because loons are the predators on the lakes, or the fish.
When you talk about predators at Yellowstone, I think of grizzly bears. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other topic. Yes.
So
yes.
okay.
But anyway,
I don't think of loons when I think of predator.
Well, anyway, it's just the illustrative point.
Okay.
So she had that. And she did have a bear piece. She actually had a camera. You've heard of trail cams?
Yeah.
Well, she had basically an audio device set up by an elk carcass. And they knew that, predators would come and scavenge it. And she actually captured the sound of two grizzly bears fighting over this elk carcass. And so I was able to incorporate all this into the interview, and that's what won it. So really, it wasn't me or my astounding questions, it was her audio.
Okay, well, still, you did the interviewing, so, but that was good. It's good to give the credit where it's...
It was definitely due. In fact, I tried to give her half the check money. She says, I work for a nonprofit, I can't take it. So, Jennifer, if you're out there watching Street Talk and other stuff, that $100 of the $200 is still waiting for you.
You can take her out to dinner.
She lives in Bozeman.
Oh, okay. All right, but here's the thing, though. How did she know it was grizzly bears fighting? I mean, what's the difference in sounds between grizzly bears mating and grizzly bears fighting?
I guess when it comes to radio, it's the theater of the mind. Okay. So...
Okay.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll have to go there.
We'll leave it at that.
All right, but look, I looked over your website, did a little research before, haven't used any of that information yet, but I do want to now. You mentioned about sponsorships.
Yes.
Okay, you said that if you want me to sponsor your product, I've got to believe in it or I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Okay, have you run into anything where somebody said, hey, would you sponsor my fishing lure or something? You said, I tried the thing and it doesn't work.
The one example that stands out is people send you stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Would you talk about this on the radio?
Right.
And one time I got this game. It was like an old school, like the Game of Life or Monopoly or whatever. It was called the camping game. So I brought it out for the kids. The kids were younger then. Yeah. Let's try out the camping game. Well, the game made no sense. I mean, you literally couldn't figure out what the rules of the game were. And when you won, did you really win or did you just lose? I mean, it was the worst game design
It's just like
ever.
camping. Camping doesn't make any sense.
I guess it was probably designed by somebody who couldn't put up a tent. Okay. But it was awful. And I basically said, look, I'm sorry. I can't talk about this on the air. It's just not going to work. And I've had books. People send me books. And God bless them.
Right.
By the way, if you ever write a book, please proofread it before you get it published. I really think that's going to help your sales.
And don't use 4 or 5 exclamation points, okay? One will suffice.
So there are times where it's like, I'm sorry, I just can't do this. I generally won't go trash them on the air, but I won't put them on the air. And ads you probably, God willing, you'll never hear on my show are, like the Dinovite ad. It's D-I-N-O-V-I-T-E, Dinovite! Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, real quick, future plans. You're at 60 stations, you said?
60 stations.
Okay.
The big push right now is we have a second show, America Outdoors Radio. Whoops.
All right.
America Outdoors Radio is the second show. Yes, there's a reason I'm on radio, folks. and we're really growing that show. So that just launched last year. We've got it to 48 stations. Hoping to get that over 50 this summer.
Oh,
and
cool.
I'd love
Good.
to see it get to 100 stations. So that's our national show, but it's got a real strong focus on the Western U.S. because that's our footprint.
Sure. Okay, well, hey, I'm with Johnny Cruz. He's the host of Northwestern Outdoor Radio, and he's going to stick around as we do the rest of the show. This is a good one, okay? I read this one earlier. But hey, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike, Mad Dog Magnati. We will be right back.
You can buy fruit almost anywhere. From first off the tree to first in your hands, Lone Pine offers seasonal fruit from their farm and around the region every day. Make Lone Pine your latte stop with coffee from Blue Star Coffee Roasters and a fresh piece of fruit pie. Take a break with a friend and order a cold micro beer or a glass of Northwest wine. Bring the whole family and enjoy a Lone Pine lunch or a fresh shake in their park-like setting. Lone Pine Fruit and Espresso on Highway 97.
Quality, comfort, style, service. This is the Crown Furniture difference for more than 50 years. Their commitment to you is to provide the best furniture and mattresses the industry has to offer at a great price. Shop Crown Furniture today to experience the difference. And remember, free setup, delivery, and haul away in their service area is just another way they show they care.
With the whole family online these days, speed matters. Good thing LocalTel has the consistent speeds it takes to keep everyone happy. In the den with a tablet, streaming a movie in HD, on the home office computer, and using Wi-Fi on a smartphone instead of using up your data plan. It can all happen at once with no waiting. Speed matters. Call or visit LocalTel online to get set up with high-speed internet today.
Breed's Marine in Manson has your boating needs covered, offering the superior Regal lineup with options from 19 to 53 feet. Featuring the Regal Surf lineup with Volvo Penta's new forward-facing drive with length from 19 to 26 feet. View our current inventory at ChelanBoat.com or stop by our Manson showroom on beautiful Lake Chelan and see what the all-new Regal RX Surfline has to offer.
All right, Street Talk and other stuff. This is a regular part of the program where we do your probably worthless opinion. I get letters from viewers. Of the 16 viewers I have, a number of them sent me multiple letters, but I did look at this one in advance, so this one's pretty good. Okay, but here, Dear Mad Dog, I recently read in the Wenatchee World about a man who was firing his attorney because he thought the attorney didn't have much confidence in the guy's innocence. In other words, pal, he's talking about a guy who, even his criminal defense attorney thought he was guilty. Okay. Well, I find myself in the same situation. I was arrested because I was accused of frottage and voyeurism. Frottage is touching for sexual pleasure, unwanted touching. It's like if you're in the subway and you rub up against some woman to get your jollies. That's frottage. Okay. It also could be well, whatever. Okay, so I was accused of frottage and voyeurism, and man, I don't even know what those things mean, so how could I be guilty of them? I'm an ex-sex crimes detective. I know this stuff. Okay? I know what frottage
I did not write this letter. I don't know what frottage means, but I did not write this letter.
I don't know what these things are, so how could I be guilty of them? My lawyer read the police report and told me he didn't want to defend me anymore. So what can I do? I was hoping, since you know everybody in town, you could hook me up with the guy who can't even get his lawyer to believe in him. And maybe we could talk to the new lawyer together and get a 2-for-1 type deal. What do you think? Could you give me your best advice? Signed, I think I'm innocent. Well, dear innocent, here's my advice. It's three-pronged advice here, okay? Don't, whatever you do, contact the other guy, okay? First, don't do that. Second, make the best deal you can. And third, plead guilty. Okay, Street Talk and other stuff. Appreciate you being here, Johnny. Thanks.
Pleasure.
We'll have you back. Congratulations on the award. Hey, we will see you next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.